Hello all, the Irrational Skeptic here, and today I am going to be doing a video on a couple of the functions from the MBTI. I'm going to be comparing introverted feeling and introverted thinking. So in this video, I would like to clear a few misconceptions and basically go over some things that I found people to mischaracterize the functions as. And after some time of studying the MBTI and typology, I've come to understand the functions in constitutionally different ways than most. While most people view TI, that is introverted thinking, as a smart function, they tend to view FI, introverted feeling, as a not so sophisticated function, or at best, an emotional person. And I'd like to say that they're missing a crucial point. Every human functions at certain levels of intelligence. Now, any type can be intelligent, but there are different expressions of intelligence. So here I am making the distinction between level of intelligence and the expression of intelligence. The functions are akin to a window through which the light, and the light would be intelligence, shines. So you have 8 different colors, and that's just using the MBTI, and light shines through each of them, and the intensity of the light shows the level of intelligence, regardless of the function, regardless of your dominant function. It doesn't matter. And FE dominant can be extremely intelligent. So, for this, I will borrow a definition of intelligence I found useful over the years. I got it from a book called On Intelligence by Jeff Hawkins. And basically, he is very involved in the AI, artificial intelligence realm, and he's trying to build computer machines that are more brain-like. They are closer to how the brain computes intelligence. Anyways, moving on. The claim is that intelligence is necessarily a function of prediction. We build models of the world in our minds, and we want to more easily predict actions in the environment. If the functions work as a survival strategy for our species, then each component is crucial to the intelligent process, let's call it. I will go over the importance of each function in this process in future videos, but is not needed for this video really. I mostly wanted to give an introduction to a theory that I've been working on that combines what I've learned from both differing systems of thought. That's more empirical based studies, which he does, and more theory, which is what the MBTI is, and it'll include things that Carl Jung has written in the past, and I borrow from socionics. I do tend to borrow from many different systems. But moving on, what makes NFs and NTs similar are in reference to intuition. They are all intuitives. For them, intelligence is more of a function of their use of intuition, and this turns out to be the recognition of patterns in their raw form before being parsed by logic or feeling to kind of see where they stand on it. An intuitive dominant is recognizing the patterns as is and decides to assist in communicating to others via their auxiliary function. A feeling or thinking dominant gathers this information and after it has been pieced together, either by them or others, before accepting it as information. And so moving on to why TI and FI are confused for smart versus emotional is the loss in translation. If I am a TI dominant, I do not have FI in my conscious cognitive stack. Uh, it means that one generally is not aware of their own feeling and the variability found in feeling structures. And here I use feeling structures because I am trying to move away from feeling being only emotion based. This isn't actually not the case. So feeling structures are not the same as logical ones and therefore have no way to be broken down logically. You cannot do it. It's not possible. The supporting structures for a feeling are grounded in reality and not created out of thin air. The supporting structures of a logical argument are merited by the truth value. So, in their relation to reality and relation to what actually happens, is what makes them good or what makes them true. An argument becomes weaker the more we prove some of the presuppositions wrong. So you can think of any logic tree at all. And if you have supporting statements, and I go one by one and I say, oh, well, the sky is not red and the water is not pink, I think you have a really weird view about how the world looks. Maybe you're just colorblind, and hey, I guess who's to say what, right? Maybe we're all colorblind and you're the only person that's seeing these colors correctly. So you see, it's just about, so it is a matter of perception actually. Um, if we could see in X-rays, we would see the world much differently. We wouldn't be seeing blue and yellow and red. So we would just be using the information we have. So you have to understand that things are the way they are for some sort of advantage. Us being able to know the sky is quote unquote blue has some sort of relation to it being advantageous to us. I've seen in some studies it shows that blue is much more predictive of health. And when people see the color red, they are much more scared, and it's more predictive of danger and death. So uh, you can take that wherever you want, but yeah, just think about it. So in the case of feeling, you cannot really deny it based on how it was formed. What you can accuse an introverted feeler of is inaccurate perception of the feeling structure, or better yet, an unwarranted call onto it when, let's say, there is a rules-based game going on. If you agree with me to play a game and we are all aware of the rules, then anything performed within those parameters are valid. Outside of a rules-based game, such as maybe the treatment of someone on the street badly, can warrant an immediate judgment without reference to the rules-based game, unless the rules-based game accounted for it. So without any referring to the rules, we can not do anything about it as a TI dominant. At the same time, FI pronouncements can be transformed into TI-based rules if we find a consistent enough way to define it. One such rule could be to say that you cannot assault someone unless they attack you first, and it is in self-defense. That way, you do not have to hit someone, or you don't have to not ever hit someone, which could cause you your life, but you are allowed to do it within the context of defense. So you now have a rule which you can apply to being able to hit someone. It works both legally, but then it also works as a way to balance society. If someone doesn't hit me, then I don't hit them. Simple as that. If we extrapolate what these functions are doing in a metaphysical realm and explain this realm using a introverted thinking way, we see that there are constraints upon the world itself. This is why we need these rules, because they've been imposed on us from above. Does this sound familiar? This is likely why Freud was trying to figure out what his ego and superego theories were. He was trying to find where the ego gets its own rules and why it feels like it is constrained against other rules, i.e., society. It is also what Carl Jung furthered by separating the conscious from the collective unconscious. These functions are primarily ways in which the game has been played in the past and have therefore formed an overarching pattern. That is, over time, there has been patterns in the past that have evolved and turned into these functions, SE, SI, and those are the patterns that we see now, and we call them those functions through the mirror of the past. So, my main argument here is that the FI user is just as analytical as the TI user, and it really has nothing to do with whether they're an FI user or a TI user, if you see what I mean. Intelligence is being used in both cases, and the higher energy, potential capacity, individual is in either group will be able to more accurately process a situation. The best way I can describe this part is as a car and a driver. And I'm borrowing this from, I believe, Personality Hackers, I think. Yes. The car is the function, the driver is the individual. So I think I've put a little bit of a twist on it. As you ride about in your car, you are drawn towards a set of actions by your car. When anyone says something, for example, the TI user quickly parses for logical consistency and is very pedantic on trying to make you keep your sentences straight and logical. Let's say that. This is for his own value, because he values TI, to know what you are saying. You could possibly know what you are saying, but you must translate this into words that someone else understands. That is someone else using another type of function. As for the FI user, when they hear the same person speaking, they may search for particular intonations in the rhythm of the voice. They're picking up other patterns that are not they're not based in logical structure. But and I don't want to use the word rules here because rules are very much related to logic games, but I'll just say they have their own way of perceiving what is going on in the moment. If someone is an architect and sees a building and sees all the different layouts and knows that they used this angle here to make this structure stand, you know how architects think. And then the introverted feeler is not paying attention to that information. It's not that because they can't see it, that means they're not analytical. No, it means their attention is based somewhere else. It's based on analyzing other sorts of information. So this is why they're called feeler people, and they're focused on people because they gauge the veracity and the authenticity of what one is saying just by pure feeling. So this brings me to attack people who say things like, facts don't care about your feelings, quote unquote. The reality is that correct feeling is just as right as correct facts. If someone has a right feeling about something, they can come to the same conclusion as someone that tried to pedantically figure out the rules for why something happened. And the introverted feeler could even be more accurate than the person that thinks they're deducting things logically. So they make it seem as if a person with feeling is always saying the sky is red when the sky is actually blue. This is just horseshit. All these functions are ways of interaction with the world explained to us simply through consciousness. And even the realm of explanation is only interfaced by our interpretation of it in terms of humans, that's us. It's a circular argument that one can't really escape, unfortunately. So yeah, that's what I was wanted to go over in terms of TI versus FI, and I guess just to give a brief run of what I will be talking about in my future videos concerning this topic of intelligence and personality and how the functions are just kind of windows into the soul, per se. I'll say this. Um, and I'll try to use all the functions to describe this example and going down. So if I see a car run into a tree, then that action has occurred. This is akin to extroverted sensing. I've seen that action occur very, very clearly. I can recall and explain it, of what happened, by using different sensations. I can explain to someone this using introverted sensing, SI. I'll say, oh, the car turned and it swerved and picked up a lot of dust and swerved in the air. And then I saw a little butterfly fly by, and then a worm came out of the ground. And while all this was happening, the car hit into the tree. This is sort of an SI view of the same thing. I can speculate on what happened to cause it. Maybe, oh wow, he seemed to have been speeding. Or, hey, he was smoking a cigarette and threw his cigarette butt out of the window on the way, and he wasn't look and saw someone and then swerved. That's why. Or there was water on the road and it caused the friction to not be as much on the tires, and he slid, and on and on and on and on. You know what any does. And I can just perceive it happening in real time and explain afterwards what happened in linear time, uh, as an extroverted thinker would do. I would just be like, oh yeah, this is what happened in real time. The car came and then it smashed into the tree. I can imagine the emotions I would go through if I were in the car, or if a loved one were in the car, and say, wow, what were they going through while they were driving uh, into this tree? They must have been in so much angst and worry, and wow, I can see how they could be scarred with this for a very long time. This is an introverted feeling. I can see it within me, and okay, this is how another person's body will process this. Yeah. And I could quickly, instead of seeing how it would happen if it were me, I could quickly see how it was happening in the environment and the reactions going on from people, or from the people you see in the car, the facial reactions they're giving, the scare, and that sort of an extroverted feeling, judgment. You're picking up on the tones, and you're saying, wow, we got to go help this person right now. Then we just see what happened. That's insane. And yeah, and then I could intuit that the person in the car is all right, like an NI sort of pronouncement. And this is, uh, people always say intuition is very hard to explain, and I suppose it is, because I'm at a loss for words here, but it is just a sort of saying. You see the person hit the uh, tree, and then you kind of just say, hey, that person is all right. Whether it is based on past patterns, as I believe most people explain this, based on past patterns that one has seen before, and maybe just somehow in this life or another. Haha, you've seen this happen and that person survived, so this person survived. That kind of stuff. So yeah, anyways, that's gonna be the end of this video. I'm gonna end it here. It's getting a bit long, but let me know down in the comments what you think of introverted feeling and introverted thinking, what your thoughts are. Like, share, subscribe the video, and yeah, the Irrational Skeptic signing off.
Every day for you, 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 every day. Check. Can I be the one to never let you down? Hold it down, I'ma show you how. Confess my feelings right now. Can I be the one to keep it a G with you? Nights out, dinner dates, can I eat with you? Can I be the one you see adoring you? Chivalry, I'ma open up doors for you. Can I be the one to post you on Wednesdays? I don't really give a damn what your friends say. Can I be the one to keep it official? Never dish you, never run into an issue. Can I be the one to tell you I miss you? When we out in public, can I kiss you? Can I be the one to slide through late night? When you pick the mic, you don't never get stage fright. Can I be the one to fight with you? Break up, then we get back together in the same night, the same night. Be the one to constantly fiend for you. Puzzle piece of my world, I'm complete with you. You and I versus them on the team with you. You bout cash, so can I chase green with you? I love it when you send me pics to the archives. I reply emoji with the heart eyes. Can I be the one to wake up next to you? Cooking up French toast with the eggs for you. Can I beg for you? Can I do that? Can I be that? It's something about you, baby girl, I mean that. Say you never lied to me, I believe that. You disappointing me, I never wanna see that. Loving your lips, a kiss, let me steal one. It's a lot of other chicks, I don't feel